What's up YouTube? It's aYoungDev here, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to locally save data onto your Swift application. So let's get started.
So this is the final product. When you push the button, you add more information to it, and when you stop the project and reopen the project, the data should still be displayed in the label. So let's get started. So we will start with creating a new project, and mine will be a single view application. You can call it whatever you want. I will just call mine local Daddy and click next and create. Okay, so while that is going down, you want to visit the description below and download 2 SwiftData. So now we want to open that up. Alrighty, and just going to put it onto my desktop so I can easily access it. Okay. So now I will drag this file into the application. Go ahead and click copy files if needed and finish. And so now the file is added. So next we want to add a bridging header. So to add a bridging header, all we have to do is go down here, click add new, file, and let's make sure we're on iOS. And let's go ahead and add an Objective-C file. Call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine delete because that's what we will be doing later. And then just click create. And then it's going to ask you this: would you like to configure an Objective-C bridging header? And you would like to say create bridging header. So what a bridging header does is it allows you to translate Swift code into Objective-C so that it can communicate with SQLite, which is the program that you use to save data locally onto your phone. So we don't need this delete m file. I'm just going to delete it. You can choose whether to delete it or not. It's really not going to affect you or your app. So okay, so inside of this bridging header, you want to say import that and SQLite 3.h. Oh, I forgot the hashtag. So, alright, and that's all you have to do for the bridging header. Now we want to go to the main storyboard. And I'm just going to change the size of this because that kind of bugs me. And so now we want to go ahead and add some buttons, or a button. I'm going to add mine to the bottom of the screen. I'm going to make it bigger so that it is easier to use. And just go ahead and let's go ahead and add missing constraints. This sets a default layout for that button. So after we do that, we want to add a label, and I'm going to make mine take up the top half of the screen. There we go. And again, add missing constraints. Okay, so now we want to go to our view controller, and inside of the view controller you want to make a little bit of room so that you can connect your label to the view controller. Oh, and how you do that is by pressing control and clicking on the label and then dragging over onto your file. And then you can call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call mine my label and enter. And then we want to do the same for the button. So control click, drag over, and then my button. We're also going to add another control click for the button, and this will be the function. So where it says outlet, you want to change that to say action, and then you're going to say call it whatever you want. I'm going to call mine my button pressed and connect. Make a little bit of room in there. Oh yeah, there was one thing that we forgot to do. We can close this now. We forgot to add the frameworks. So to do that, you just have to go to your project up here and then go to build phases, and then right here click on add frameworks, and then you want to type in SQLite, and then you want to add both files. SQLite. This one now. And now we go back. Now I think we are done with the storyboard, so we just have to code. So under the button function, I'm going to create a function called add text. And inside of the function, you want to say if let error equal SD, that dot well, yeah, we have to create a database, so create table, and then you get to name the table. I'm just going to call mine test table, and then in here's where things get a little weird. So you want to open and close brackets like that, and then you want to say name, and then you want to say of type dot string. It should show up dot string val. And then you want to close brackets like that. And you want to say else. We're actually going to rename this create, because that is what we're doing. We are creating the database. So that is what we are going to call that. And so you want to run the create function inside of the viewDidLoad, like so. And so now that will be executed. We can go ahead and here it shows that there was an error, and so you should do something if there was an error. So we're just gonna like shrink that because hopefully we don't get one. And when you get the else, in between the else brackets, you want to state what you want to do with that. So we are going to say print, because we're using Swift 2, and we are going to say created database. I don't know why I'm capitalizing it. Yeah, there we go. Create database. And we are going to test this right now. I'm going to test it on a smaller device. Bam. So it looks like it created the database because it says print line, because it says in the command line created database. So it looks like it worked. We are now going to go back over here and add some information to the database. So that would mean we would create a new function, and here we can call it add text. So in here we want to say again, if let error equal st or sd dot should say execute. There we go, execute change, and inside we will say in capital letters insert into, and then we have to get our database and put that in there and paste. Now we have to add the arguments, which is whatever you put for right here. And then you want to say values in capital letters. And then open up parentheses again, and inside you want to put whatever you feel like putting for the string. So I'm just going to put aYoungDev. If it's a string, you want to make sure that you have these apostrophes right here. And then you want to go ahead and do the same thing that we did for the last one, which was add the else and the brackets, and then we are going to print in here successfully added name. Added. Alright. And then we are going to add that to this function right here, which is the action when the button is actually pushed. So we are going to do that, add text, and now we are going to run this and see how it works. it's going to show an error there because you have already created the database and that is still in the view.did.load. So now when we push the button, it should say successfully added name down at the bottom of your command line. Yeah, you can push it as many times as you want and it will keep adding it. So now what we want to do is query the data that we just inserted into the database. So we want to create another function to do that, and that I will call query query data. And again, we are going to have, and inside of this function we will have let open parentheses result open parentheses result set comma error. I know this is kind of weird, but and then we're going to say equal sd dot execute query. Bam. And so in here we will now say insert in, or not insert. And so we open up so we add quotations, and in here we are going to say select if, and then we're going to say shift 8, which stands for all in SQL, and then we are going to say from, and then we are going to add the name of the database again, which is for me test table, and then we are going to say if error equals nil, then do this, and inside of here, and so we are going to say for row in result set, do this, and then we are going to say if let name equal row open brackets quotations, and then we are going to take the column name from over there and then paste it in here, and we are going to say question mark as a string. We're going to open those brackets, and then we are going to print I'm going to say got a string, and then that. So now we have that going on. We are just going to test it out really fast, and we are going to put that in the view.did.load as well, and then we are going to test that out. So it looks like we got a string, and yeah, so it's working. So now we are going to take you and put you inside of the button function here, and we're going to remove you from over here, and then we are going to say for each in there, we are going to say self dot my label dot text equals. Actually, we want to do it a little bit differently. We want to say we're going to create an array var my array to be equal to that. So we're going to create an array, and then in here we are just going to say array.append, and then we are going to put the name in there. And we are going to say in here self.myLabel.text equals my array. And I guess we have to put my array inside of quotations. So we are going to do something like this. And there we go. So now we're going to run this, and what we should get is for every time we push the button, we add aYoungDev to the label. Okay, and so we push the button, and you can already see 5 is there, and then you push again, and then you see more, you push again, keep pushing. And so when you stop it and re-upload, I mean rerun. You should get the same data being displayed within the label after you press the button, which means that all of this information has been saved locally on your device, as you can see there. So this framework was posted by Ryan Fowler. To visit his page, simply check the description below, and there you will see a guide explaining other features that you can do with this framework. If you have any issues, feel free to comment them below, or you can simply download this project. That should also be in the description below.
Make sure to like and subscribe if you thought this video was helpful, and stay chappy.